My name is Robert Billingsley, R-O-B-E-R-T, Billingsley, B-I-L-L-I-N-G-S-L-E-Y.
And you were Georgetown class of?
1968,
Okay,
Foreign Service School.
excellent. So tell me about your memories of Professor Karski.
Well, what I remember about him was his presence in front of the class. He would stand very erect, he was in good shape, and he had just that sort of elegant Eastern European look about him. It was sort of like Paul Heinrich in Casablanca or something, this Victor Laszlo, and he had a swarthy complexion. He smoked a cigarette in front of class, and he had a very deep voice, spoke like this, very deep, very theatrical. And he never had any notes because he had a photographic memory, but he had a great sense of the drama, and he was an arresting speaker. And I went to Georgetown in the 60s, which was an age of cynicism and anti-heroes. And at the time, we really didn't know his story. It's only afterwards that it really came out. But he was monumental. I mean, he could have been on Mount Rushmore. He had a real presence to him and a great teacher. And he would talk about Eastern European government, and he had a sense of that because he'd lived it, and he could talk about the Nazis and the communists, and just he was very exotic.
It wasn't theoretical, you know that he actually lived it.
Yes, it was, but he also had a behavioralist overview. He could approach it as a science, but then he would add anecdotes, killer anecdotes about what it had been for him. But very theatrical, big bass voice, and very impressive.
Why do you think this Young Karski initiative is so important today?
It was brought home to me actually last night when I got from President Gioia a speech from a graduating senior whose father was in prison in Iran. He'd been let free, but he'd been tortured. And the young man talked about how he would go by that statue and think about Karski. And here that young man is 21 years old. He's not 64 like me looking backwards. He's 21 looking forward, and the basis of it was that we should be people of compassion, and that he looks forward to coming back and standing in front of Karski's statue at Georgetown.
That's wonderful. Is it fair to say you're excited about our Young Karski National Centennial campaign?
I am. I think it's bigger than life, and the fascinating thing with me is that the people that I mentioned to get involved, I'm in commercial real estate, and I wish it was as easy to close deals, so to speak, as it is with people. When you talk about Karski, there are fond memories of him, who he was, a man for all seasons, and in ways it's sort of like it's my immortality. I mean, Karski will live forever, and celebrating him is sort of like it's being part of something bigger than we are.
That is absolutely beautiful. That's beautifully put. Anything else you want to add?
No, I look forward to being here tonight. And Karski had been a professor of mine 45 years ago, and then the story of how I came here, and the statue out front, and we had an event, so it's very exciting to reconnect with a great professor and a great humanist.
And I understand you were instrumental in getting the corner named for Karski?
Yes, my collaborator was a previous Consul General, Chris. Chris is going to kill me, I can't remember his name, but fortunately I befriended Chris, and he was the CG here, and he'd also been in PR. So when we got talking about a Georgetown event here, Bill Clinton had done the introduction about the statue. I nominated Bill Clinton for freshman class president. And Chris saw this, so well, let's get the street name, let's have a Georgetown function, and he was unbelievably enterprising. I hope he's making movies back in Poland.
I hope so too. Well, great. Thank you so much, Bob.